Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Asani Pettifor. Glad that you are with me this morning. Wherever you're tuning in from around the world, I want to know who you are and what part of this globe you are on. So whether you're in the United States, anywhere in Europe, the Middle East, the Caribbean, Africa, Latin America, wherever it may be, we want to recognize you and thank you for tuning in. We've been talking about the meaning of the affair, right? Having a deep dive, comprehensive understanding of why this thing happened. And so today we're going to specialize in a specific area of that conversation by talking about the 4 benefits of sharing the affair. Now, as we discussed before, so many people are lost. They're clueless. It's hard for them to be able to move forward with truly healing and restoring the relationship if they can't put all of these pieces together to help it make sense. And so I want to dive right in and begin a conversation with you about the things that need to be done and why they need to be done, meaning the benefit that it has to both the betrayed spouse as well as the relationship, okay? So if you've been in a season of struggle and turmoil when it comes to having certain conversations regarding the affair, we're going to dive right in and give you what you need so that you can experience a level of breakthrough. All right. So the first benefit that we're going to talk about this morning is filling in the missing pieces. See, when the betrayed spouse finds out about this affair, there is an obsessiveness, there is a preoccupation with all things concerning the affair. And in most cases, the former unfaithful partner is engaging in the trickle truth. They are tight-lipped. And so what happens is the spouse goes on this quest for discovery. They begin to turn into a detective, and they're trying to gain anything that they can to make sense of this. And so one of the things that's going to be helpful in this recovery process is both of you being on the same page to giving the betrayed spouse what they need to make sense of what has happened. And so there are a number of things that you collectively as a couple can do. Now, you may think that this is counterproductive. You may think that this is dragging things out. You may think that this is causing more harm than good. But let me tell you, in the end, it will wind up benefiting the relationship, even though in the midst of it, it may seem like a very, very difficult task. So filling in all the pieces. Number one, it would be important to get calendars out. If the affair lasted for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years, and this has now come as a shock and a surprise to your spouse or to you who's watching, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, man, where were we in our relationship? What were we doing? How did I not know this? What was happening in my world that allowed something like this to happen? So bringing out the calendar and being able to look at dates and look at months would be critically important. Because wait a minute, in 2024, at the beginning of the year, we were on a cruise. Now, you were in an affair at that cruise. I remember. So if we were on a cruise, I remember those times when you would go away, you would be missing in action for a couple hours. Was that the time that you connected with your affair partner? I remember in November of 2023, you went on a business trip, right? And so you said you were going to Miami, but as I begin to think about it, were you really in Miami or were you in another state? Was it truly a business trip? Or do you use that as a cover to connect with your betrayed or your affair partner, right? So all of these things begin to come up. And so looking at a calendar and kind of going through that period of time will be critically important to determine what was really going on. Sometimes looking at the receipts. That means looking at bank statements, because what happens is when there's an affair, sometimes a spouse begins to control the bank statements because the bank statements reveal what was going on. Credit cards that now get redirected and mailed to the job instead of home because it would reveal the affair that was taking place. And so when we see all of these transactions, now we begin to put all the pieces together. Oh, that's where the money went. So when you said that there was no more money to do thus and so, oh, okay, I see that hundreds of dollars were sent out, not only through a credit card, not only through the debit card, but through Cash App. Oh, okay, so you were using Venmo. Oh, all these ATM withdrawals to hide what you were doing. Man, when I add up the numbers, it really tells a story. You know what? If we take the time to call the phone company and look at the what? When we look at the phone records, see, all of these text messages, all of these phone calls indicate that it was much deeper than what you initially articulated. Yeah, you said that it was short-lived. It was only a 3-month affair, but based upon the records, it indicates that it was much, much, much longer. In fact, this was going on for about 1.5 years. And so the pieces that you gave your spouse, which was a lie, it was a minimization of the truth begins to come out. And so when a spouse has to do these things on their own, and they find out all of this evidence, it reinforces why they cannot trust you. And it builds up a thick, impenetrable wall between you. And so intimacy is very hard to be reestablished because we're still lying and telling untruths. So when we begin to grab the phone and look at the fact, oh, these hidden apps were used to communicate with your affair partner. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, social media. I noticed that you would DM each other and you would like and share, each other's posts. So it tells a story, and it's much like the pieces of a puzzle. If I'm putting a puzzle together, I need all of these individual pieces to make sense of things. And when I begin to make sense of these things, all of a sudden, I have the clarity that I need to determine what my next steps will be. So we got to understand that having conversations about the affair fills in the missing pieces. Number 2, when you talk about the details of the affair as a couple, it really helps to clear up the misconceptions. Because when you kept certain details from me, I was forced to use my imagination. And so giving a detailed account replaces a fictionalized account with the truth. And this is why full disclosure is critically important. So couples oftentimes have conversations on their own, which really appear to be extremely difficult. But when you bring in a facilitator, someone who can help navigate those conversations, you're able to gain more insight, more clarity, and you're able to move forward in the process. Let's go to the third thing. When you begin to talk about the affair, it really exposes the modus operandi, right? The method of operation. And this is critically important because this really begins to unpack a person's motive, their intent, and their true heart for things. And when you begin to peel back the layers and reveal the level of deception and secrecy that you were involved in, it will help to reestablish credibility with your spouse, because you are willing to expose yourself to your partner of how devious your behaviors were at that period of time. Your refusal to admit these type of things makes your spouse think that you're still trying to protect your image, protect your reputation, protect your secrets, which reinforces an idea that maybe you're still engaging in such behavior, or maybe you may one day again engage in this behavior. And so revealing these cover-ups and how you manage to figure out time and place for these liaisons, it exposes you and it prevents the possibility of you engaging in those behaviors again, because you've let the cat out the bag. When you begin to talk about the alibis who are involved, maybe there were friends who were involved in the cover-up, colleagues, co-workers, family members. See, that's critically important too, because as you reveal that, it allows your spouse to have their eyes wide open to the mass level of deception that took place, to prevent that type of deception or those type of interactions with those people from happening again in an unhealthy way. Revealing these cover-ups are critically important to understanding the story of the affair. The last point, in terms of the 4 benefits, it releases the secret that ties the bond. See, you have to understand something, that whenever you're holding on to a secret, you're suppressing your thoughts. You're not releasing them, okay? You're not getting them out of you. You're only suppressing it. And whatever you suppress still remains within you. And so you may think that those are lying dormant within you, but maybe it is the fuel that keeps you going. It's the thing that you constantly think about. It's the thing that you constantly meditate on and focus on and vacillate in because you haven't articulated it to get it out. And so when you hide old romances and old affairs, you remain in a level of obsessiveness about these particular things. In fact, I found an interesting quote by a therapist, and I said, this is worthy of sharing. This is what therapist Debbie Layton Thal said. She said that unfaithful partners experience greater arousal and preoccupation with their lovers after ending the affair if they never disclose the affair to their spouses. Once an affair is disclosed, the freedom to discuss the relationship diminishes the obsessive thoughts and feelings of excitement connected with the affair partner. So when you keep a secret, it builds a bridge, it builds a wall, it builds a barrier. When you release the secret, it builds a bridge that allows the two of you to connect. So understanding the affair is critically important if you're going to move forward in the healing process. These are the 4 benefits of what you need to do to get your relationship in a better place. Hopefully that was helpful. And we're going to tune in tomorrow to discuss another aspect of the affair. So watch this with your spouse. Have great conversations. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of the Couples Academy Show.